Previously, in the land of the wolf, we ran into the new members of the Manatus pack. The next day, one of these wolves ambushed beavers, hunting as a feline, without being afraid of the cameras. Since then, my parents and I are focusing our observations on the Manatus territory where our base camp is. As you will see in this new episode, the moose is a great guide for getting to know the wolf. The land of the wolf to which I am linked. A vast territory of 7,000 square kilometers of forests, lakes, and rivers. A sanctuary where wildlife thrives unhindered, protected from hunting and trapping since 1925. A free evolution of wildlife as we hardly see any more on the planet. The gray wolf is the keystone species of this entire forest ecosystem. And the moose, present everywhere, remains its most imposing and handsome ornament. Sometimes it is by following the moose that one runs into the wolf, because the two species are dependent on each other. With the Manatus pack, it is a bit as if Monique, Reynald, and I were starting again from scratch, because we did not know where their rendezvous site was. To find one of these wolves, we had no choice but to rely on moose, hoping that luck would do the rest. It was not a compromise. It is always exhilarating to observe the king of our forests in his fall glory during the mating season. We are heading towards the rutting area of the Lord Lancelot of the Lake. Every fall, this dominant male gathers a harem around him. This young bull moose lost one of his antlers during a recent fight with Lancelot. He keeps a low profile to be tolerated on the edge of the winner's rutting zone. Lancelot sends warnings to keep the young male at bay. To show too much aggressiveness could displease his brides. Rivalries oppose the females gathered around Lancelot. Having no antlers, they display another behavior to determine their place in the hierarchy of the harem. Obviously, Lancelot is very popular with females. They love his smell, his voice, the music of his antlers rubbed against the bushes. They appreciate the phlegmatic character of this tall and dark moose. Everything indicates that the young bull moose will respect the ban on crossing the border of the Lancelot's mating zone. Therefore, the king can return to court his brides. After such nice observations, we imagine that the highlight of the morning has passed. We tell ourselves that wildlife will hide deep into the forest for the rest of the day, and that it is time for us to go back to the base camp. Yet there are mornings when we have to stay put, follow our subject, and keep watching for the unexpected. Even though the pace of animal life seems to slacken in mid-morning, we have to expect everything. It is just a great gray owl. Nothing to worry about the broken antler moose. The young bull moose appears relaxed but watchful. This observation takes place in an area very frequented by wildlife, namely a network of sandy clearings linked by old tracks. There is plenty of food for the moose and for the wolf. This female is prospecting. She covers this area alone, in search of an easy prey or opportunity. But how does a wolf assess the level of danger associated with catching a moose weighing several hundred kilograms? Simply by a careful analysis of the odors left here and there by the moose. Its saliva on the bushes where it ate. Its tracks on the ground. If the wolf finds the scent signature of a disease, injury, or any other sign of a low-risk capture, she will come back with other pack members. Obviously, there are nuances that wolves must learn to decode. A moose can be injured, disadvantaged by the loss of an antler, and still retain enough strength to drive back a wolf pack. The accidental breaking of an antler is a disaster for the adult bull moose, who sees his chances of mating decrease, simply because he can no longer fight with his rivals without risking being badly hurt. This injury to their pride makes the big bull moose belligerent and dangerous. Encounter a moose with a broken antler is not always a godsend to the wolf. On the contrary, this is what we observed a few years ago one fall afternoon, when a king wearing a half-crown arrived unexpectedly at the rendezvous site of the Burnt Hills pack. The young wolves are taken aback. Their instinct and lack of experience tell them to be careful, especially since there are no adults on the site. The moose is surrounded by the young wolves. Babaloo wisely hangs back, while his sister Busby takes the initiative. A risky decision for the bold little wolf. Finally, the annoyed moose turned back. What an experience for the young wolves. We have never known what has become of this great, grumpy king, nor of the young moose with the broken antler that we observed in the territory of the Manatus Pack. In nature, it is like that. Many questions remain unanswered. The most important thing is to return to the field to unravel the mystery. The same female wolf at 1 kilometer away from Lancelot's rutting zone, where we first observed her 1 day ago. Still the same exploratory behavior. The spruce grouse have nothing to fear. They just watch the snooper. One of the first things nature teaches us is that wild animals regularly pass each other in the territory they share. This group is actually a family made up of a mother and her spring brood. As for the dust bath, this is a classic behavior in all grouse. The adult male spruce grouse is a charmer. He is always looking for an opportunity to showcase himself to the hens and pullets, even if in fall they are indifferent. He must redouble his efforts to gain their attention. This parade is a bit clumsy, but at last the hens look at him. The wolf is back for a final inspection of the clearing. Her search for scents brings her closer to the conifer where the male grouse is. Fearful? Nervous? Not really. This clearing is possibly a rest area for the Manatus pack, as there are many wolf tracks. When an adult wolf relaxes to the point of lying down in front of us, the chances of seeing it again are excellent, so we give it a name to identify it. We called this Pretty Wolf White Paws. Is it less scientific than calling her Manitou Wolf number 1? Certainly not. The small size of White Paws did not necessarily place her at the bottom of the family hierarchy. To know her social rank, we had to be able to observe her interactions with the other wolves of the pack, but it was difficult without having access to the rendezvous site. We have been able to follow her from a distance without disturbing her too much. And wildlife encounters follow each other over hoarfrost mornings. By following White Paws, we discovered a beaver pond ideal for wildlife viewing. It was there that we finally saw again another member of the Manatus pack. None other than the great beaver hunter that we observed during the summer. This adult male behaves as if we are not there. We named him Jimmy. Beaver hunting poses little risk to the wolf, and the high-fat flesh of this rodent is much more nutritious than that of moose. It goes without saying that the wolf is closely linked to the beaver and to the moose whose populations it regulates. But for us, it is also interesting to study wolf interactions with other species. A late heat wave early in October gave us the opportunity to do so, while Jimmy was resting in the middle of the afternoon. Least chipmunks take advantage of the mild weather to stockpile provisions for winter, while migratory birds stop in the area to rest and feed. Small rodents, horned larks and white-crowned sparrows are just an entertainment for Jimmy. But for the red-tailed hawk, chipmunks are prime prey. The big black bear who is approaching will allow us to observe Jimmy's reaction. At last, the annoyed wolf manifests his presence. The bear seems to want to give way to the wolf. But the wolf branches off in the same direction, only to reappear much closer in the comfort zone of the plantigrade. Finally, everyone goes their own way without further ado. I love this kind of observation. Black bears and gray wolves have ambiguous relationships that vary with each situation, but usually each one wants peace. The wild world is not a battleground. Here, the great forces of evolution are constantly striving for balance and harmony, for the good of the entire community of the living, including humans. This is what I invite you to discover in the next episode, when White Paws and Jimmy will track a moose distressed by cysts.